Jay, that's strangely close to Daniel Jones from the Giants. Daniel, is that you? Beat the Chiefs. Show me. If the Broncos and Russell Wilson can show me that they can beat the Chiefs, then I will start believing.
The crowd up. And so are this defense, and Kansas City won't snap the ball again. The Denver Broncos have beaten the Kansas City Chiefs.
David Montgomery on the Lions, former Bear, gonna make this his revenge game for sure. David Montgomery gets the touchdown that ices the game. No! And there's a flag. There's flags. There's flags. There's flags. There's flags. Snap. Hold. Kick.
Denver wins! Denver wins! Let's go!
They open. No!
What happened? Oh shit.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the only football podcast tonight. We're doing a little off-script action. Kyle and I were talking before going live. We're going to call it a Freestyle Friday. We are going to talk about Aaron Rodgers, though, for sure, just like you guys see on the thumbnail, but we're going to do a bit of a Freestyle Friday. Like I said, we're just going to be talking about Aaron Rodgers' main thing and a couple other topics that have come up throughout the week in the NFL. And of course, I'm going to end it off with the Chives with Kyle. Oh, let's get it. America is football, football is America.
Football is America. If you don't like it, you can kiss your candy ass for the moment in time. I don't give a damn. Oh my god.
No.
You loved it.
It's 30 to 27.
Oh!
Chiefs win. Chiefs win 30 to 20. Woo!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Only Football Podcast. I'm Kyle and that's Rick.
I'm Rick, let's go.
I'm so pumped to be here. You guys have no idea what
No, you're
it
not.
looks like around me. I am so pumped. If you guys ever wanted to see what dedication looked like, you would have to see the other. You know what?
Oh, let's do it. Let's do it. He's going to show the dedicate. This is great.
This is a mirror, followed by styrofoam, followed by our podcast, more styrofoam, a steel container. I have literally created.
He's basically created one of those soundproof rooms just out of cardboard or styrofoam and passion. That's what Kyle has done.
Whatever I could find in the office. I'm in the middle of a move right now, so things are still a little bit crazy, but so is the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And we are only a couple weeks away from the NFL draft, and this is going to be a Freestyle Friday. And I think that if I was at a bar and you bumped into me and we were just chatting about sports, I would ask you, who's your favorite team? Now, because I already know that, I'll ask you the second question.
Yep.
How do you feel about where the Bears are right now?
I feel good. I'm tempering expectations because, as everyone online has said, the Bears have won the offseason again. 3-time champions, offseason champs. We're on a three-peat. The Chiefs couldn't do it. The Bears did. But, yeah, I feel good. I like the moves the Bears have made. I'm anticipating very much so the draft and to see which direction they go with 10. The draft, mini camp, all that stuff kind of start up to really get a good where the Bears are just as a team with Ben Johnson, Ryan Poles, all that. But I like the moves they've made.
Yeah, I think there's nothing more there's no big you're not waiting for anything to drop. It's not like how it was last year with Caleb Williams, where it's like until they say with the first overall pick, and then this year it's like until I see Ben Johnson. All right. It seems like for the last couple of years, you guys have gotten everything that you've wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And last year, it really felt like, okay, now it's time to actually do something. You got what you wanted. You got the quarterback. And the head coach didn't – people really underestimate what a head coach does. And look, as a Broncos fan, our fan base took the biggest cap hit in NFL franchise history.
Yeah.
And Sean Payton came into a place where they were like, this guy I think we can all agree that he wasn't his best. There were a lot of people on Russell Wilson's side in the beginning because I've noticed that whenever a grown man is getting chewed out, there are people that are going to immediately feel bad for that person. And that is the case. One of the podcasts I watch, one of the guys was like, he had enough with this other guy and he kind of called him out on it. And then right away in the comments, it's like, lost a lot of respect for, you don't do that in public.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, okay, you want a head coach with fire and passion, and then you want him to be able to turn it off. And it's like at that point where he was screaming at Russ, it was like we were all doing it as fans. It was like, dude, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So he comes into a place and he's got this quarterback that he can't work with, and no money available, no draft picks.
Yeah. No first rounds, right? Yeah.
No first round draft picks. And the first year he gets us to 8 wins. And it was like, okay. I said going into that season, 7 wins is his floor. Year 2, we get a first-round draft pick, get Bo Nix, Troy Franklin. Our players start developing under his development team that he built around. Bo Nix has an all-time rookie season. We go to the playoffs. Now we're going into year 3. We have another first-round draft pick. We bring in Evan Ingram. We bring in Hufanga. We bring in Dre Greenlaw. And all of a sudden, it's looking like, hey, we actually are building something here.
Yeah.
And when Dan Campbell came to the Lions, it was like the first year he got there, it was like we kept losing those weird games, 67-yard field goal, Justin Tucker. All of a sudden, Dan Campbell's breaking down in tears in his press conference, and America fell for him. Yep. And all of a sudden, the Lions defense goes from around 31st in yards per game to 15th, and the Lions start winning games all the way up until week 18 when they kicked the Packers out of the playoffs. In a divisional game with the playoffs on the line, would be Rodgers' last game as a Packer.
Yep.
And then we go into last season, and the Lions are the new hot thing. They go all the way to the NFC Championship game, fall short, and then year 3 is like Super Bowl or bust.
Yep.
And that was last year. So from what I see, a true turnaround takes an organization around 3 years to do. Same thing with Colorado, the college, and what Deion Sanders built. Year 3, this should be it takes 3 years to change a culture. It takes a year to do it, and then it takes another year to get the right players.
Yep.
And then it takes a third year to put it all together. But the Bears are in a different situation. This isn't a full rebuild. You have the quarterback, you have the talent, you have the coach. It seems that you have the coach. So, like, when you say we have to kind of monitor our expectations, I'm like, well, if you're taking the best coach in the NFL and you're sending him to the worst team in the league, I say 3 years. But the Bears aren't that. They're arguably one of the more talented rosters in the league. And now you got the hottest coach in the NFL. So what does like managing expectations look like? I mean, this should be, if you got a hit at head coach and you got a hit at quarterback, like this should be a playoff team. I just don't see how it can't be.
And that's the thing where as Bears fans, like, you're absolutely correct. When there is like somewhat of a no-win situation, or at least it seems that way, referencing your Broncos, referencing the Lions when Dan Campbell came in, it's like, okay, at least we know, right? Like, when Sean Payton came in for the Broncos, immediately everyone knew him and Russ probably not going to work out, right? Like, was it a very expensive cut loose player? It was. And yet, just like you pointed out, you guys made it to the playoffs with a rookie quarterback, a top defense in the league, and year 2 of Sean Payton, right? So you guys showed the NFL that it's possible when the situation is what some were calling, and I was kind of agreeing, like a shitty situation where you were like in cap hell for that 1 year or so. It's like, well, we were able to get above that. Everybody was talking shit about our players, and yet look what we did. It took a block kick for the Chiefs to actually win that game. We spanked them week 18 to get into the playoffs by just dominating that game. And really, you look throughout the season and that happens. And then you also referenced Dan Campbell and the Lions, and it was like, that was kind of like a fresh start, right? You get rid of Stafford, or not get rid of, but you trade him, you bring in Goff, which a lot of people are thinking, yeah, he might be that bridge quarterback for them, right? Like, this is probably what it's going to be. The Lions and then it's like a kind of like a shit show for a little bit, for a couple of years. And then, like you said, the very end of year 2 of Dan Campbell, they beat the Packers. Aiden Hutchinson is playing really, really well. Goff is on a tear that nobody expected. And it's like, okay, this is the culture. This is the year 2 of that, bringing in the right players, drafting correctly, drafting the unpopular players, right? The offensive line, the bringing in a bridge quarterback, the emotional head coach, getting rid of DeAndre Swift and the other running back. I forget his name right now. He's on the Saints. But like bringing in the right people. Jamal Williams. Yes. Thank you. So it was like, awesome. The difference, I think, with the Bears is the roster, for the most part now, looks to be 75 to 85% complete. It's like, okay, cool. We've got 3 brand new interior offensive linemen, Joe Tooney, who's a winner, one of them, Jonah Jackson, who seems to be somewhat of a project, another, and we got Drew Dahlman, center. Not the best center in the league, but definitely an upgrade to what was happening last year. We've got our right tackle of the future in Darnell Wright. Braxton Jones, left tackle, kind of iffy. They're trying to tell him to gain some weight so you can have a good anchor, things like that. You look at the wide receiver room, Rome Odunze, DJ Moore. They did just bring in Zacchaeus from the Washington Commanders last year. So you're looking at this, and obviously Caleb Williams, that kind of goes without saying. But some of the holes, again, that I'm kind of thinking of, and as to why you saying like they should be a playoff team, they absolutely should. The only thing is, we know where the Bears have fucked up, in the past in terms of quarterback, head coach, GM hires. It's always rookie quarterback, get rid of the head coach after their rookie year, bring in a new one, and it's a whole new system. We saw that with Trubisky, we saw that with Justin Fields, and we're seeing it with Caleb Williams. But the difference is now, which is why I am tempering my expectations, but also very excited at the same time, is because, like you said, you bring in Ben Johnson, the hottest name for a head coach the last 2 seasons, at minimum 2 seasons, right? And we already have Caleb Williams with the number 1 overall pick from last year's draft. What he showed last year under prime conditions was like, oh, he can throw for 3,500 yards. He can have single-digit interceptions, albeit he didn't throw any touchdowns either in like that span without going interception list for a while there. It was a few games where it was like, when is he going to throw a touchdown? But we know that it's a process with rookie quarterbacks. Again, the defense does need help, and you bring in Grady Jarrett, you bring in Dio from the coordinator, who from all accounts in his past, he has done really, really well as a defensive coordinator, right? So you're kind of, as a Bears fan, I'm like, all right, the pieces are coming together. It's just now, okay, are we bringing in, what's his name, Campbell, the tackle from LSU? Are we going to trade back? Do we think we can trade up? Are we actually bringing in Genty? Because you look at the running back room and you're like, DeAndre Swift, either home run or bust for him, right? Like, he's not a 3-down back. He is not a Saquon. He is not a David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs. He's not that kind of guy because he's just not, and he never was. I don't know if he ever will be. He's more of like an Austin Eckler type. I think I said that before the season or during the season where I was like, he helps out in the pass game. He's just not a run you over type of back that can get you those 5 yards on a first down. Roschon Johnson had very, very minimal touches this last season. And is he going to be that kind of guy too? I think he's more of a goal line situation running back. So do we go with Genty? Do we go trenches, whether you're talking about offense or defense? Because is Braxton Jones going to work out? Is Genty actually a 3-down back too, like everybody's saying, right? You're taking risks. Ben Johnson, great play caller, great offensive mind, has had one of the best offenses the last 2 seasons. Can he do that as a head coach?
Where are the Bears picking?
They're picking 10th. And the reason
I don't see Genty going past the Raiders.
And that's what everybody else is saying. It's like the Raiders need a running back, and they're going to go with the best one available, which is Genty.
They just had that player ownership meeting in Florida, and the Raiders all but said that they're drafting Genty. I don't know if you guys heard, but it was like the owner or the GM's son was like,
you
heard that where he's like, if he's going to disown me if I don't draft Genty, which is like all like in fun, but like, every story has some truth to it. And it's like, not only is there like that funny, I guess, household weight to the decision, but there's also a national pressure to draft Genty.
100%, especially from your fans.
Especially from your fans, because it's like we got a quarterback that we think is good, but we need a running back if we really want to see this team compete.
100%.
So I hope that the Raiders and the Bears both don't pick Genty. I hope he falls to 20. I would rather the Bears draft him than the Raiders. We just got Josh Jacobs out of there. I think at the end of the day that if the Bears don't make the playoffs, I'm going to go to Nick's comments. I think it's a culture issue, because we know that teams can overcome bad things. Not bad things, but let me say that better. If you have an area on your team that is a weakness, you can overcome it with coaching schemes. You can overcome, like, okay, this linebacker's not great in coverage. We're going to run a different defense, so we're not isolating our linebackers. Like, you can find a way to leverage your best players and kind of hide those deficiencies. It's also, like you mentioned with Sean Payton taking over, hey, we don't have any money and we don't have any draft picks. So everybody in the building, we need to figure out how to get the most out of them. And if they're not there yet, how to develop them quickly. And
real quick, that was like, Sean Payton is an established NFL head coach. He had over a decade, I believe, with the Saints and won a Super Bowl with them. So to bring him into the Broncos in a situation that is nowhere near ideal in terms of cutting Russ and not having recognizable names on your roster other than Courtland Sutton, which even a lot of people this past year were like, oh my God, Courtland Sutton's a guy. It's like, yeah, no shit. We've known that for the last 3 years or so. That right there is like, again, kind of going back to Nick's comment, is like the culture. Sean Payton established that and did it really, really well, to what you're saying. Guys where we don't have a first rounder, we've got a late second rounder or whatever the issue may be. Those guys bought into what Sean Payton did similar to Dan Campbell and the Lions, and we're like, oh, fuck. Yeah, no, we can make the playoffs. We are good. And then you bring on Talanoa Hufanga, Dre Greenlaw, who's the other name? Evan Ingram. Like, that right there is like those guys 2 years ago would not have gone to the Broncos prior to Sean Payton. Like, they would not have gone to the Broncos, in my opinion. But now that they see, hey, Sean Payton's doing a good job with the culture, he's getting guys that, again, you don't really know their names or are household names in the NFL scope, playing to their maximum level, we can fuck with that team. Absolutely. Let's go over there. So I love that. I love that.
And it's still that period with Denver where it's still cool to join them, right? Like, if Denver gets to the point, let's say Bo Nix takes another big step and they win 12 games and they're in an AFC championship game and they lose. Well, then next year it's like, well, no shit, Denver is a destination, right?
Yeah.
They're the team that looks like a young quarterback and they're still getting better. But
got the vets mixed in there.
Yeah. But this year you still get that, like, oh yeah, I did it before it was cool. I where it's like, oh, you wore your backpack with only one strap. So yeah, but I did it before it was cool,
Oh, you got a rolly backpack? That's sick, dude.
Yeah, dude. Are those rollerblades on your shoes? Dude, that's sick. What are those, wheelies? Yeah, I wore them before they were cool.
Is that a Coke nail on your pinky? That's awesome.
Yeah. Did you used to roller skate? He's like, there's a stand-up comedian that's like, and then somebody came out, I think it's Bill Burr. He's like, we all roller skated. Oh, he was making a mask comparison to COVID. He's like, then some douchebag was like, that's not cool. And then we all acted like we never wore them.
Yeah.
He's like,
I just saw that.
Yeah, he's like, it's like rollerblading. He's like, everybody rollerbladed. Then some dude came out and said he was gay, and then we all acted like we never rollerbladed. He's like, we all did it.
Hey, hand up. I rollerbladed. I thought
I don't even know what he's talking about. That's how much I like rollerblading. I'm like, dude, it didn't make its way to me. That must have been an 80s thing. It was like when I grew up going to the skate station, and that was what we did on Friday nights. We went to the skate station, and it had like a roller skating part, and then it had a dark room where they played, like a DJ would be in there. And like, looking back on it, it's so weird. It's like you got a bunch of like 12 to 17-year-olds just like twerking in there. And like, you're just like getting sweaty. It's just like the security guards are like grown men, and they're just like standing there. It's like, what is this place? I got to go back as an adult and just scope it out and just see if it's the way I remember it.
I was going to say, like, is it still like how fun I remembered it, or is it just weird now?
I bet like everyone, who knows, but I don't even think people do that for fun anymore. Fair. But yeah, I want to just hit on this because whenever you have no other options, you find a way if that's what you're built of. The thing, like, we're built different.
Yeah.
That's like, there's a truth to that. I'll give you an example. I have a room here, 116. The owners came here. They flew in from LA, and whenever the owners come here, it's like everybody's freaking out. Like, okay, all of our vacant units have to be perfect. Our models have to get polished. Like, we want to make this building look impeccable. Everybody got so lost in that project that they forgot to tell me that somebody was moving in on Tuesday, and I went in this room and it's totally tore up. Like, I'm like, it needs to be painted. It needs new carpet. It needs to be professionally cleaned. I need to do my maintenance stuff. I'm like, I'm the only one here. And I'm like, guys, we have one day to do this.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, everyone else is freaking out about it. I, for whatever reason, I'm very calm under these situations. It's a bad thing when I'm always late to stuff. But it's a good thing when things like this happen, because like time just doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't give me anxiety. Like I just know, I always say, these things just always work themselves out. And then then you have like your girlfriend or wife that's like, yeah, that's because I do it for you.
You ever see that thing where it was, and what was it? It was an Australian skit, and I think I blacked out.
I heard Australian.
Oh, I paused.
I got you back.
Okay. There's an Australian skit, and the guy is like, him and his girlfriend, wife, whatever, having issues, right? And she's like, you never do this, you never help around the house. And he's like, okay, I was gonna keep this a secret, but I want to let you know. And he like guides her to the living room, and in the living room, right, you got your couches and you have the little coffee table, and he's like, all right, this is a magic coffee table. And he's like 100% serious in this skit, right? He's like, I swear to God, babe, look, if I leave anything on here, the next day, it's magically cleaned, it's magically done, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, are you fucking serious? He's like, I didn't believe it at first either, but look, he's like, I've done some crazy, I have left some crazy shit on this table. And yet the next day, the plates are washed, the laundry is folded, and I don't know, it's a magic table. I think you should try it, babe. And she's like, I can't fucking believe you.
Dude, I have seen this. I saw it. I think I saw it as a short.
Oh, it's probably a short. Yeah, it's so goddamn funny.
I forgot about it until you just brought it up. But yeah, like there's another movie scene where he's like, these things always work, and she's like, yeah, it's because I do it for you. But it's like, but it's also true that sometimes people just don't freak out under those circumstances. Like I had 3 days to get out of my house, and I felt like everybody around me was panicking, but yet I was like,
cool, calm, collected.
I just handle it differently. I won't say cool, calm, and collective. I was definitely not enjoying the process, but I just like, I don't know. I think I just bury things so deep that they don't affect me. I really don't know I don't know.
I was like, get down there. Get the fuck down there.
And I don't like saying that, because then people will be like, yeah, that's why we are worried, because you're not dealing with it. I don't think I'm not dealing with things. I think I'm dealing with them differently.
Yeah.
I really do believe that a day spent worrying is a day you don't get back. Like, okay, you spent time worrying about something. What changed? Nothing. Nothing. And like, this principle is so real to me that it just makes me the way I am. Like, it's not just like cliche to me. It's like, I really believe this. I believe that worrying about things is just dumb, because there's always going to be a way. Like, you're always going to find a way to be okay. If you have the will to live, it will sustain you. And I was like, I called my painter. He's like, I can't do it. So I called another Gray Star company, and I was like, I'm in a crisis. I'm just using these words to get, and you need them to respond the right way. If I'm too calm, then they won't, they won't do it.
They won't give a shit.
I'm like, here's the deal. I got people moving in on Tuesday. And she's like, I got you. They get excited. They're like, I want to be a part of the solution. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, man. That is such a relief. Oh, and then they feel like they're helping you, and now they're invested. It's kind of not totally manipulation, because this is real. I do need help, but you're also like leaning into certain emotions. So I get this person on speed dial. I got a painter coming tomorrow. I got cleaners coming Sunday, and let's go. And I'm like, it'll be good to go. 2 days, this whole unit will be totally different. But like, sometimes people just don't, when they under that kind of pressure, they just don't know how to like get things done, because they're so worried that they're almost paralyzed by their fears. I think whenever Sean is a head coach, to tie this back in, you lose your draft picks, you have no money, and you don't like your quarterback, or you don't know who he's going to be because you just don't know. You're still scouting people. You have to find a way to be comfortable in that and find a way to be like, okay, well, it looks like all of our stars are in the room. Just like Coach Carter, where they don't want to sign the contract. And he's like, I don't do high school contracts. You don't
Yeah.
get the real ballers. And Coach Carter goes, I will do that, sir. And then those guys on the team go, there goes our top 2 leading scorers from last season. And Kenyon Carter goes, I guess we'll have new leading scorers this season.
Hey, there you go.
Damn. But it was real. And they went
Yeah.
undefeated. And there were new leading scorers. And the last time I checked, Nick Benito, week 16, was the second front runner to win Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah. He was doing
even
well.
knew his name going into that season. He was not on anybody's radar. He's probably like a 68 overall on Madden. I mean, this guy was like not on the radar. So there is a truth to that. Like when you're like, no, we got guys in the building. We don't know who they are yet, but we do. But you can only have that conviction if you got the right coaching, you got the right staff, and you draft the right people. You got teams like the Dallas Cowboys where it's like such a honor to be a Cowboy that it's a destination in its own right, you know? And that's a great thing, but it's also not.
Yeah, to have that name across your jersey, Cowboys, to wear the star.
It's like, well, at that point, what is the coaching staff? What does anybody have to do to earn a player to want to play for them? They don't, because it's already on the uniform. So when I look at those historic teams, I understand why like a lot of players, they'll just draft the most talented players. Ego, locker room issues doesn't matter because that's just not the way they operate their team. You have to, and I'll ask you, I mean, we're going into the draft. I'm a huge proponent on drafting character. I mean, I think I would rather have a guy that is a B+ with high character than an A- or even A+ that is tearing my locker room apart. Because if you can get a team to cohesively band together like brothers, like true brotherhood, where it's like, no, like I really care about these people. Like when the offseason hits, my guys, they go to Mexico on vacation. And they don't have to. That's not team mandated anymore, right? They want to go to Cancun or wherever. Or where did Matthew Stafford and
Aspen or something, like Colorado? They were in Colorado.
No, I'm thinking of where all
fucking Cancun.
Not Cancun. That's like where all the white people go. This is like
Alfred's
where. This is where Cabo.
Cabo. Yeah.
So this is like you got a team that actually likes each other. I think that comes from drafting character, right? If you're just drafting, like you got to be thinking, okay, what are we missing? We got Patrick Surtain. Okay. He is the Defensive Player of the Year. He's obviously a great player. He's also a quiet guy. Let's bring in a dog, just a yapper. In your face. Let's bring that attitude to the defense. Because his whole thing, PS2 is like humble over hype. Very quiet about his business. Doesn't do any talking. Doesn't need to. But like bringing in people from that lens, it's so different when you're drafting and you're looking at the whole team as a one body. And you're wondering, what do we need that we don't have collectively? Like the final product equals blank. What are we missing? And like baking a cake. What are we missing? You're tasting it and you're wondering, what do I add to it? Is it a little salt? Do we need to tone it down? When the Bears are going into their draft, how much are you looking at that? Because I think that's something older people say that younger kids don't resonate with that much, where they're like, oh, he's just a high character guy. It's like, who cares? We just want talent. But I think you can get both. I don't know why it's always one or the other. I think there's plenty of great guys that are great for the locker room that are also very talented. But like, where do you pick and choose? Like, where do you draw that line? I think there's a level of talent where you'll look past some flaws. But there's some people that are just like, no, we won't actually. Like, I don't think Sean would deal with a diva. That's why Brandon Cooks, in his second year, third year, Sean was like, get on my team. Like, no.
Yeah, and you come across a lot of those guys in the league where, I don't know, maybe like, for example, a while ago it was like Debo. Like Debo, or even like Tyreek Hill just this past season, when we were talking about how Justin Jefferson got his deal and he's like, well, now I wonder what mine's going to be. And it's like, dude, how about you just, I don't know, get your money that you have now and worry about winning fucking games instead of worrying about how much more money you're going to get. Because part of that for me is like, I love, the draft is always so like, it's always such a toss up. I don't know if you heard me there, but I was saying the draft is like a toss up.
I love that the draft is such a toss up.
Yeah, because that's where I'm going. Like, I love where there's a confident guy who has the talent to back it up, but I can also recognize where it's like, how much of that confidence can eventually turn into cockiness, where it's like a bad thing, where you are looking at like somewhat of a Debo Samuel type of situation in the near future, or after 4 years or 3 seasons, technically, because you got to talk about extensions at some point after the third year with a draftee, right? For me, I want that confidence, but I also want to make sure that the locker room I have today is a good culture to bring in someone who has zero idea what it's like to be in an NFL locker room. Because I was watching Saquon. It was a quick clip, and he was doing the oh my god, that show with the hot wings. You know what I'm talking about. Sean Evans or
Vince Vaughn was on it. It's a great episode.
Yeah, and it's like that show in general is like a really cool concept. But he was talking about like how Sean Evans was asking him, "Hey, what was your welcome to the moment?" And he's like, "Well, it was my rookie year on the Giants, and we were going up against Carolina, and I busted a run out to the outside because on the inside it broke down, so I went to the outside." And the guy who met me on the outside was Julius Peppers. Julius Peppers is a year or so away from retirement, but he's like, he
must have been a Packer at that time.
No, he was on the Panthers. He retired with the Panthers, remember?
Oh, you went back for a year, yeah.
Yeah, he did. Right before he retired, he went back there, which I thought was really cool. But he's like, he grabbed my pad and I hit his arm as if to get it off of me. And he's like, and it didn't go down. And I hit it again and it didn't go down. And then finally he like the play was whistled off because they were both standing, but there was no forward progress going. And he was like, at that moment, I knew what it was to have gym strength and grown man strength. And that was my welcome to the NFL moment. Right. So that to me was like Saquon knowing that he's talented, but realizing that the talent level in the NFL versus where he's coming from in college, Penn State, the Big Ten, is completely different, right? So as someone, when I'm looking at a team, they're going to draft somebody. Let's say Will Campbell, for example, the tackle out of LSU. I love that if we were to pick him up, and you've seen his press conferences talking about like, all of a sudden my arm length is an issue, but the years of tape I've put on have not been right. Like he's got that confidence. He can lock down any defensive edge or whatever, right? An edge rusher in his mind. But he's coming, if the Bears were to draft him, he's coming into a offensive line room with Darnell Wright being one of the better younger tackles in the game. You know, Joe Thuney, who has won multiple Super Bowls. Drew Dahlman, who is already an established center in the league, 5th, 6th year, whatever it may be, and is coming from a bit of a struggling franchise in the Atlanta Falcons, but has powered his way through that. Ben Johnson, DJ Moore, Caleb Williams, who's predicted to be a superstar. Like he's coming into a Hot Ones. Yes, Nick, it is. That's the show. That's what the show's called. Thank you. But he's coming into, if the Bears pick him, he's coming into a locker room that seems to be a little bit more established now with guys that aren't Tevin Jenkins, that aren't Ryan Bates, or whatever our center's name was last year. Who gives a shit? And not Eberflus, right? Like, not that bullshit culture where Eberflus named 10 captains for the Bears last year. It's like, how do you wrap your head around 10 captains? Anyway, but
yeah, like what is the you're in this weird lukewarm where it's like you're basically, it's like you're saying that, hey, we're all captains. It's like, okay, then send out 11 at least. You know?
Yeah, it's like, let's make the entire offense a fucking captain. It's like, what? But that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I don't want a diva, and I don't want somebody who lacks the confidence in their talent. The thing I want the most is, for example, oh my God, what's his name? The defensive tackle for the Eagles. They drafted him 2 years ago.
Jalen Carter.
What happened to him prior to being drafted? He had gotten into those legal issues with the car accident. Somebody unfortunately died. Somebody or somebodies, like a couple people or one person. I forget exactly how many. But if he were going into the Bears, that sure the last couple seasons, it's just like, what? Like, this is a shitty culture for him to be in, right? Or the Raiders or something to that matter. Instead, he went to the Eagles, who had Josh Sweat, who had I forget the other guy who just retired from the Eagles. They've got established players. They've got a roster and a culture of winning, and they will check your ass if you come in as a rookie and you've got some sort of issue, right? Like, remember the story a long time ago with Des Bryant and that other wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys, where he was a veteran and he was told Des Bryant, hey, rookies got to fucking take pads. And Des Bryant was like, no, fuck that shit. I'm not doing that. I get paid, blah, 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 blah. Whatever the issue was. In my mind, I'm like, look, man, it sucks. And
take
even
your own pads.
Take your own pads, right? Like, it is what it is. Yes, it kind of sucks to get those licks as a rookie, but sometimes you got to take the licks as a rookie, right? Like, sometimes you're not going to get first team reps, even though you think you know that. But if it's when you become a detriment to the team culture and the team, what the goal is at the end of the day is winning a Super Bowl, or at least getting to the Super Bowl, right? To know that you've established culture. When you start to be a detriment to that, that's when it becomes an issue. But again, to wrap all this up, it's the most important thing, I think, is like, the player that you draft, what's the situation they're coming into? What is the culture like? What is the goal? Is everybody practicing what's the word I'm looking for? Taking accountability. Is everybody practicing that on this team? Does the coach hold the standard high for everyone, from long snapper all the way to star quarterback? Is everyone being held accountable for their actions, and at the end of the day working towards the goal of a Super Bowl? Yes. Okay, then this guy coming in is going to learn real fucking quick how to be an NFL player, versus the Panthers, let's say, for example, with Frank Reich a couple years ago before they hired Canales. What's the culture there? Frank Reich's a guy who got fired last year or a couple years ago from the Colts or something like that, and he's coming into a team that doesn't really have a culture or a goal in mind. It's like, what am I walking into here? How am I supposed to learn to be an NFL player if I don't really have any guys who are team oriented, or just me, myself, and I? So I think the most important thing is what that locker room looks like, what the head coach is like, et cetera, et cetera.
If you treat the rookies the right way, they'll want to take the pads.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other part, where it's like, it's like certain things, like, you know, I won't say it on camera, but there's certain things that our community does when you make it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, you know, for me, I was like, no, I'm not going to do any of that. And that's like, I think everybody can make those decisions on their own. And I think there's a lot of pride in not picking up the pads. However,
yeah,
if this is like you're not a Dallas Cowboy if you don't do it. Fuck off. I was actually drafted by the Cowboys because of who I am. So I think that there's a line where you pull your penis out and you mark your territory and you say, this is, I will be respected. However, once you give me that respect, I will take your pads.
Yeah,
you know? I'll take
exactly.
Your pads. It's a give and a take. And everybody that is like true veterans, they understand this balance. Von Miller used to take our rookies out, and the tradition is that the rookies pay. And Von Miller was like, no, I paid at the end. I'm not making a rookie pay. Like, why would a rookie pay when I'm making $70 million, in the last 2 years? Yeah. Like, there's no way I'm letting them pay. Like, and
that used to happen very often too.
It still does.
I don't think it does as much, because a lot of the videos you see now are more pranks for the rookie. Yeah. I would assume the rookies, like, if they're like, hey, rookie, you got to pay half.
Yeah, like it's tradition.
But I think a lot of the videos now are more pranks, and the vets do end up taking a majority of that paycheck. But I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, so I think those are like the Von Miller type people that you want in your locker room. That's like, I'm going to show you the way. I'm going to show you how to be a professional. Mm-hmm. I'm also going to invite you to my house party, and hopefully you don't get drugged and get beat up by a vacuum cleaner. Like that one guy went to Von Miller's Halloween party and ended up in jail with a black eye and got his ass whooped with a vacuum cleaner.
He would have died that day. Yeah.
Dude, just blackout drunk. And Von's like, damn, I didn't know he left.
Yeah, that would have been crazy if I knew, but
yeah, it's like, but you have to have like, when we're at work, it's work, and it's that switch, and the best professionals that have been doing it a while, they know how to turn it. But I think that for the Bears, it's like you're talking about drafting a player, bringing him into a culture, and it's like, well, how have the Bears really even had time to establish a culture?
Yeah.
Because even when you come in and Sean's like, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have cultural changes based on what I tell you to do. We're going to have physical things that represent that. Like, we're going to put a car in front of the practice facility with no rear view mirrors because we're not looking backwards. And we're going to change our uniforms. We're going to, do all of these micro things to remind you constantly that you are a part of something new. But even so, it takes months for that. It won't really be whatever Ben Johnson's culture is. It'll be set for the next year's draft class. This draft class is going to be kind of with the vets on what does this look like? We don't know. We're all just kind of setting it. But just because you're setting it doesn't mean that the expectations have to be low. If everybody is working hard and they're talented, then it's going to, I think, happen faster than later. I mean, look how fast the Commanders worked out with Jaden Daniels. They were a game away from a Super Bowl. So it can happen quick if you have talent in the right coaching. But the Bears, like, what makes the Bears, like, their culture, like Crafty said, what if no culture is the culture?
Is the culture, yeah.
It's like, or what if right now no culture is the culture? It takes a while to figure out what it means to be a Chicago Bear in 2025 when so much is always changing.
Exactly.
It's like you understand the history of what it was in the 80s, but what does it mean today? And that's something that will be exciting to watch, I think, for this year. Now, to pivot real quick to the Aaron Rodgers thing, he was practicing with DK Metcalf at UCLA. And at first I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, well, was this just like a coincidence? Like the whole thing in Cabo with Matthew Stafford and whatnot? Or was this because, right before that trade happened with Matthew Stafford to the Rams and Sean McVay was in Cabo with
had a little conversation,
and apparently that was a coincidence. So I'm like, was this DK Metcalf, Aaron Rodgers thing one of those coincidences?
No,
it was not. It was planned. It was orchestrated. And look, I think Aaron Rodgers has to be very calculated about this decision, because last year there was a lot of people saying like he was bad. He was playing through injuries late in the season, and it was amazing that he was able to, he was toughing it out late last season. But this is another season, another year older. You got to play Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson twice a year. You're in a tough division. I think there's two routes. He either signs a Steeler now, or he waits until somebody gets injured, which unfortunately happens every year, and he joins that team.
True.
Well, I think he should take his time, because this is a huge decision at this point in his career. What do you think he's thinking? What is he going to do?
Going with the DK Metcalf thing, man, like the whole, is it a coincidence? No, I do not think it's a coincidence one bit. I think more so, percentage-wise, he's going to be a Steeler. Right now, unless somebody gets hurt within the next couple weeks or so, again, his options are limited. He's like 42 years old. He's on the back end of his career. And after last year's performance with the Jets, there's really nothing there where any team is like, we got to keep him, because if that were the case, he'd still be a Jet. But to me, all signs are pointing towards the Steelers, unless something crazy happens.
You don't think he'll just wait for someone to get hurt?
I don't think so. I don't, because to me, Aaron Rodgers needs that time to build with his receivers, with the offense. He could probably do that, once somebody gets hurt, let's say July. He could probably do that from July up until the end of August going into the season. But I still think it's a little bit more time, and I think he definitely wants to know where the fuck he's going to play, if he's going to play. But unless something crazy happens, I think he's a Steeler. Now, with that, I'm going to get out of here because I do have to leave. I got something planned right now. I just want to end with that is I think Aaron Rodgers at the end of the day is going to be a Steeler. Art Rooney was talking about it too, talking about, oh, yeah, there's time. We've got time. He's got time. But it seems like, yeah, this might be a good idea, but there's still time left on the table, right? So, again, at the end of the day, I think he's going to be a Steeler. And him and DK and George Pickens, I don't know how that trio of a relationship is going to work, but it's going to be very, very interesting to see. Other than that, I got to get out of here, guys. Shout out to Ginger, Nick, Crafty. Thank you guys so much for being here. But Kyle's going to continue. Sorry, Kyle over here is going to continue to talk about Aaron Rodgers and a couple other topics. But I'm going to get out of here, guys. I will see you the next time we stream. Bill forever. Love you guys. See ya. Whoops. Looks like Kyle is having some issues. I'm just going to wait till he gets back in here. So you guys don't just have a blank look on Kyle's face while he's just kind of looking at the TV or at the screen. Ginger, you said you were talking about or missed something possibly drafted by the Cowboys. We were talking about that story a while ago with who was that veteran wide receiver on the Cowboys when Dez Bryant didn't want to take the pads when he was a rookie? One of those guys, we were talking about that, and we were just talking about how like the respect has to be earned, and there has to be a mutual respect because the Cowboys drafted me. They want me here, right? So there was a little bit of an issue there with Dez Bryant and whoever that one wide receiver was. It started with a T. I can't remember exactly who it was. But that's what we were talking about, drafted by the Cowboys, Ginger. So you didn't really miss too much on that. It was just kind of like a quick little tangent we went on. Nick wants Aaron Rodgers to go to the Bears. That comment you had before, Nick, where was it? Breaking, Aaron Rodgers signing with the Chicago Bears ownership group. Hell no. Hell no. The McCaskies already said there's plans in place to keep the Bears for another 100 years, or at least he said hopefully for another 100 years, with the McCaskey family and all that. So Aaron Rodgers is never going to own the Bears. Maybe through his own words, he will own the Bears, but not literally, just figuratively. Kyle staring at the screen kind of reminds me of the dude from Wolfenstein. I never played Wolfenstein. Which Wolfenstein character are you talking about? Tell me, Nick. Tell me now. I'm going to just see. Kyle should be coming up here. I think something with his computer froze. Let me text him. Hopefully he's going to make it. But how are you guys liking Freestyle Friday so far? I mean, we're thinking about doing Wednesdays, Wildcard Wednesdays, kind of keeping it, sort of like that, where we just kind of have a conversation about stuff going on. There's another thing. Julio Jones, after 13 seasons in the NFL, has decided to hang up the cleats and retire. Sorry. He decided to retire back in 2015. I think him and Antonio Brown had like 130 plus receptions, although Julio Jones had led the league with like 1,800 plus receiving yards. Roddy White and Matt Ryan, that offense was crazy. We got Daniel Berry up in the chat. What's up, Daniel? Sorry, Kyle. Kyle texted me. Oh, and he said his CPU has died and he won't be able to. I don't think he'll be able to come back on. If he does, he'll come back on another stream. Was Jones on a roster last season? I can't remember if he was or wasn't, Nick. I remember he was on the Eagles the year prior, the year they went to the wild card round and lost to the Bucks, but I'm positive he was not on the roster this year with the Eagles when they won the Super Bowl. But yeah, I mean, I didn't realize like how, like I knew Julio Jones was a very, very good wide receiver. But 1,800 plus yards, 136 receptions, like that's like Tyreek Hill numbers now. And I think we got Kyle back on. Kyle, just give me a heads or thumbs up if you're good to come back on. All right, Kyle's gonna be good to come back on. But yeah, I don't remember him being. I just don't remember that part where like I knew Julio Jones was a fucking monster, but I didn't realize like he was putting up Tyreek Hill numbers now. All right, we got Kyle back on. Kyle,
My
CPU died.
computer died. And I know we were wrapping it up, but I wanted to tell everybody that my studio is being built right now. I got contractors and painters, and I got some executive producers working on all that stuff right now. So
hell yeah.
When wait, where's my other hats? But tomorrow, my plan is to have it all built, and then
nice.
I have to do a test run. So I'm going live.
Let's go, baby. Kyle's going live tomorrow. Can you end the stream from your phone, Kyle, or no?
I can't, but I just wanted to come say bye to everybody, and with this whole move, and you were just on your honeymoon, so I know that we both been going through a little bit of well, we just haven't been going live as much as we want to. So I just wanted to say to our dedicated people out there that message me, it means a lot when I see that people are like, haven't seen you guys, where are you at? I feel good. I'm like, wow, that's awesome. And I appreciate it. And we just hope that we can bring you a lot of entertainment moving forward now that we're getting settled in. I'm not even close to settled in, but you guys won't be able to tell.
Ever. All right. Well, with that being said, we're gonna get out of here, guys, because I gotta go and Kyle can't end the stream from his phone. So we're gonna get out of here. Go follow us on X at NFL Dude, he's doing it. He's doing
I'm
it, guys.
doing it. You can't tell, but I'm
And
doing it.
with Cal and at Only Football Pod. Thank you again to everybody who was here. Nick, Crafty, Ginger, Daniel Barry. We appreciate you guys. Bill forever. Bill forever. We will see you guys next time. And Kyle, always a good time, brother.
Always a good time.